Minasan, konnichiwa. Do you want to improve your reading skills? Do you want to be able to read faster and more efficiently? Well, today, let's take a look at exactly how you can do that. So today, I'm going to introduce you to 9 simple steps that you can use to improve your reading.
Then here, there are 9 easy steps. And step 1 is identify the source.
What this means is that you need to figure out exactly what you are reading. What is the source of what you're reading? This is going to make it easier for you to think of the proper vocabulary that you're going to see, the types of grammar, the overall English structure that you will see. Are you reading a magazine, a textbook, a newspaper, or a blog? If you are reading a magazine, what part of the magazine are you reading? For example, if I want to read this magazine here, I can see, this part of the magazine says staff picks. So I'm probably going to be reading a review of some kind of restaurant that the staff of this magazine recommend. Here, yes, we have a textbook, the psychology textbook. But if we just go home, do our homework, open the book up to page blah blah blah, it still doesn't really give us enough context about the source. So we should also think about, what are we reading overall? Oh, right, I'm learning chapter 14 about psychological disorders. So then when I start reading the actual article, I can have it with the background in my mind, oh right, this is a type of psychological disorder. Here, my source is a newspaper. Specifically, it is the Toronto section of the newspaper. It's not world news, it's not the entertainment section, it's not the sports section. So if you're reading a newspaper, what part of the newspaper are you reading? Another thing I want you to think about is, what kind of newspaper are you reading? So here I am reading the Star Metro Toronto newspaper. So I know this is a newspaper that is geared towards people living in Toronto, specifically people who take public transportation in Toronto, because the Metro is the free newspaper that you can pick up in any subway station.
That means the type of English in this newspaper is probably easier to read than in a newspaper like the Globe and Mail or the National Post. Usually blogs, the type of English that you're going to expect to find is much simpler English than if you are reading a newspaper or magazine. Specifically though, when it comes to blogs, what part of a blog are you reading? So this article that we'll use as an example is under the latest news section, and it's under the city section. So it's going to be the latest news for the city. The second step is read the title.
The title is the most important thing that you will read, because it'll tell you exactly what you're going to read about. The title is usually at the very top of the article. In the magazine, the title is The Art of the Pancake. So through the title, we can get the idea that we're probably going to be reading about pancake restaurant. The title of the article in our textbook is Personal Application.
This title encourages us to think about how we can use the following information in our daily lives.
The title here is Learning English One Call at a Time. So the title here, it's about learning English, which is great for you guys watching this video. Maybe it'll give you some tips. One call at a time. So it's connected to phones, is my guess, because like a phone call.
The title for the blog is Mount Pleasant Cemetery is a Journey Through Toronto's History. By reading the title here, we can see that we're probably going to learn about the history that is in Mount Pleasant Cemetery. Step 3 is read the subtitle.
The subtitle is usually a small title underneath the main title. Sub means under, so a title under the main title. In the magazine, the subtitle is Like a Rising Souffle, Fua takes pancakes to new heights. It's also an interesting play on words, right? Because a souffle will rise when you're cooking it, and to new heights, meaning both the souffle is rising as well as this restaurant is becoming more and more popular. The subtitle in the textbook is Understanding Eating Disorder. In the newspaper article, the subtitle is here. Toronto Public Library's Dial a Story hotline gives Son of Refugees love for stories. So it's a great subtitle because now we know, yeah, we were right. One call at a time was about phone call.
The blog does not have a subtitle. Step number 4 is look at the pictures.
By looking at the pictures, it'll give you an idea of exactly what types of information you're going to find in the articles. When you see a picture, it automatically makes your brain think about what's happening in the picture. How can you describe that picture? And hopefully it'll help your brain to bring up relevant vocabulary. The magazine article has 3 pictures. The first picture is of a delicious looking pancake with lots of berries and whipped cream. Over here, there are 2 more pictures. One picture looks like a pancake with peach, and the other one looks like there's some chocolate sauce on it. These pictures definitely make the pancakes at this restaurant look very appetizing. I kind of really wish I could eat some now. In the textbook, there are also a couple pictures, right? So here we can see several famous people. The topic is understanding eating disorders. So when you look at the pictures, you can probably guess that the people in these pictures maybe were suffering from eating disorders.
In the picture in the newspaper article, we can see a man leaning against a tree wearing glasses. This by itself does not give us that much information, but we can assume that the man in the story is the boy mentioned in the subtitle. The blog has a lot of pictures actually. You can see lots of details about what kind of things are in this historical graveyard, as well as some beautiful fall leaves. Step 5 is read the captions under the picture.
If you just look at the picture, you might not understand what's happening. But when you read the caption, then you know exactly what's happening in the picture. In the magazine, the biggest picture doesn't have a caption, but the 2 smaller pictures have captions. The first one, peach is a popular summer fruit in Japan. This off-menu item is a real taste of Osaka. So it's letting us know that there are like secret menu items which make it even more intriguing, this restaurant. And the second caption in this picture, under this picture, is the tiramisu pancake comes with a special sauce to cut through the rich mascarpone. So this is literally making my mouth drool right now, and I think when I'm done making this video, I'm gonna go and eat some of these pancakes. So if we read the captions under the picture in the textbook, here we can read, eating disorders have become common and have been seen in many prominent women, such as Princess Diana, left, Karen Carpenter in the middle, and gymnast Christy Hench in the right. So our previous guess about what we see in the pictures, by actually reading the captions, we can see that, yeah, what we expected to see in the pictures is what we saw in the pictures. The picture in the newspaper article, we couldn't really understand what's going on just by looking at the picture, but when we do read the caption, Andrew Doe, 29, the son of refugees from Vietnam, has no lisp today, thanks to a ritual with his mum, dating back to kindergarten bedtime stories via the Toronto Public Library's Dial a Story hotline. He says it gave him confidence to articulate himself. So it's a rather long caption for the picture, but now we know exactly who this guy is. This is Andrew Doe, a refugee from Vietnam who learned to love to read.
In this picture, the caption, "This cemetery is the burial ground for countless war veterans, politicians, and significant figures in Toronto's history." So especially here, you can see how the caption matches the picture. Step number 6 is read the heading.
Headings are like short titles above different paragraphs in the article. It gives you an idea of what information you can find exactly under the heading. The magazine article does not have any heading. However, at the very bottom of the article here, this is kind of like a heading because it's in bold and it's highlighted. So when this happens, it shows that what's written below it should be important information. Here, it is the contact information on how to get delicious pancake. When we look at the textbook, we can actually see a lot of headings in this article. Here, anorexia nervosa. So this information that comes afterwards is going to be about anorexia nervosa. The next heading is about bulimia. So if you want information about anorexia, you would look here. If you want information about bulimia, you'd look here. So headings help you to find information much faster, and it also helps you to understand exactly what you're going to read about in the paragraphs that are underneath that heading. And it's important to do that to get your brain used to what information it expects to find. The newspaper article does not have any headings. So when this happens, just skip that step and use the information from the other steps to help you.
The blog also does not have any headings. Step number 7 is skim the first and last sentence of each paragraph.
This next step is a bit tricky and is usually one that students struggle with in my experience. When you are skimming, it means that you are quickly looking to find information. Skimming does not mean reading. Quickly look and see which words pop out at you. Specifically, you're going to be looking for nouns, verbs, and sometimes adjectives. Other words like prepositions, adverbs, things like that are not going to help you to identify the main idea. This magazine article has 6 paragraphs. So, if you are going to skim this article, skimming the first and last sentence of each paragraph, then you need to skim 12 sentences. So looking at these keywords can help get us the idea, oh, there's probably many different types of flavors of pancakes that we could read about in this paragraph here. And down here, because we had the words like originated in Osaka, well, it's giving us a bit of background about the pancakes at the restaurant.
The article in the textbook has many paragraphs. But if we look under the heading, History, Prevalence, and Course, there are 5 paragraphs. That means we need to skim 10 sentences. By doing this, we can get a better understanding of what information we expect to find in each paragraph.
The newspaper article has 9 paragraphs. So that means if you're skimming the first and last sentence of each paragraph, you are going to be skimming 18 sentences only. And remember, it's really quick. Just look for the key nouns, verbs, and sometimes adjectives.
So with this blog, like most blogs, the paragraphs are very, very short. In fact, as you scroll through, you can see that each paragraph is only about 1 sentence long. So in this case, I wouldn't skim the first and last sentence of every single paragraph because you would be skimming every single sentence. What I would do in this case is just take a quick glance over and see what words would stick out to you. Number 8 is predict what you think you'll read about.
Pre means before. And in this word predict, it means take a guess about what you're going to read before you actually read every single word. This step is very important because it helps your brain to make immediate connections with the material. It helps your brain to come up with your own opinions and thoughts and ideas based on what you think you're going to be reading. It makes reading so much faster. For the magazine article, my prediction is that I'm going to go to this restaurant and eat delicious pancakes. Being in the psychology textbook, I can easily predict based on the information I have that we're probably going to learn about 2 different types of eating disorders, the history of those eating disorders. The prediction for this article is pretty simple. It's going to be about how this man, when he was a child, his mom called the public library. They listened to English stories for free on the phone, and it helped him to improve his English and gain confidence. So even though I have not read the story, just through going through the previous steps, I can guess exactly what this story is probably going to be about.
After going through all of these 7 steps, we can very easily predict that this blog is going to be about the history that we can find in Mount Pleasant Cemetery. The 9th and final step is read everything and enjoy. Reading is fun.
Now you can go back and read every single word, starting at the beginning, and enjoy reading. Have fun! Alright everyone, I hope that these tips have been very, very useful for you and that you're going to be able to use them when you're reading. And now it's time for Question of the Day. Alright, I have 2 questions for you guys this time. The first question is, which one of these steps do you think has been the most useful for you that you're going to try when you're reading? And question number 2, what other pieces of advice or tips do you have for people who want to improve their reading skills? Let me know in the comments below. That's it for today. Thank you. Ganbatte ne. Jane. Where are you going? I'm going to get some pancakes.